quick question. Grab your phone for 10 seconds and do the math. Multiply your monthly take-home pay by 120. If you make $3,000 a month, that number is $360,000. If you make $5,000 a month, it's $600,000. Ask yourself, where did most of that money go? What did you keep? Here's the blunt point. A lot of cash has flowed through your hands in the last decade and vanished. Not because you're unlucky, because you treated money like a leaky pipe instead of a resource to direct. That's a behavioral problem, not an income problem. Now the promise, with 3 decisions taken together and followed for about 24 months, you can unlock roughly $100,000 of savings. This is math, not magic. You don't need to invent a startup or win the lottery. You need a plan and muscle. The 3 decisions are simple and brutal. Obsess over your savings rate, dramatically increase your income, and invest every dollar immediately. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes, and I'll show the math, the tactics, and exactly what to do tonight. If you want the 24-month spreadsheet and a step-by-step checklist that tracks day 1 through day 7 and 30, hit subscribe and check the pinned link or the description. You'll thank me later. Let's start with the clearest line of math here. $100,000 divided by 24 months equals about $4,200 per month. That's your target. On average, net saved and invested each month for 2 years. $4,200 x 24, $800. Keep that figure in your mind. Everything else is how you reach it. Pillar 1. Obsess over your savings rate. You've heard it before, but hear it like this. Income is what you earn. Savings is what you keep. If you earn well and spend everything, your net worth doesn't budge. Savings rate is the percentage of your income you actually retain. If you make $5,000 and save $500, your savings rate is 10%. That's not going to cut it if your goal is $100,000 in 24 months. Step 1 is clarity. Track every expense for 1 month. No judgment, just record. Every coffee, every subscription, every swipe. Use your bank statements, a spreadsheet, or one of the tracking apps. At the end of that month, you'll have a baseline. Total income, total essentials, total non-essentials, and the gap between what you want and what you need. Next comes ruthless categorization. Break expenses into 5 buckets: housing, transport, food, subscriptions to entertainment, and miss key. For each category, ask, is this essential for my survival and work, or is it a convenience? Essentials get optimized. Conveniences get paused for 24 months. Here's a practical cutting list with realistic numbers. Imagine a monthly budget before cuts that looks like this. Rent, $200, transport $200, food $600, subscriptions $80, other $720, total $2,800. To free up $2,500 a month, you have to make choices that feel large now but shrink with time. Housing is the biggest lever. If you live alone and rent is high, get a roommate, downsize, or move to a cheaper neighborhood for 2 years. If your rent is $500, a $700 roommate saves you $700 a month. That's 28% of the $4,200 target right there. Food and dining, cooking at home, meal planning, and ditching daily expensive coffee can save $300, $500 monthly. If you spend $300 eating out, cut it to $50 and pocket $250. Subscriptions and entertainment, list them. Streaming services, gaming subscriptions, apps you barely use. Cancel or pause everything you can for 24 months. That can free $50, $200 right away. Transport. Can you carpool, use public transit, or sell a second car? If you save $150 or $300 monthly, that stacks up. Miscellaneous lifestyle line items. Clothing, gadgets, impulse buys. Freeze non-essential shopping and set a rigid small allowance instead. Make this real with a sample transformation. Someone earning $3,500 a month might start with total spending of $3,000 and savings of $500. If they implement deep cuts, roommate saves $500, food cuts save $200, subscriptions $100, and miss $200, they add $1,000 more to savings. That's $1,500 monthly kept. Still short of $4,200, but note, this is the easier, necessary half. You must pair fierce saving with increased income. Before we move on, one more tactic. Automate the saving. Set up an automatic transfer that moves your target savings amount into a separate account right after payday. Out of sight, out of temptation. Force yourself to live on the remainder. Mini hook. Most people hear $200 a month and quit. Don't quit yet. If you can't get there by cuts alone, you attack the income side next. Pillar 2. Dramatically increase income. Saving is necessary, but for many people, the math won't work through cuts alone. That's where income comes in. Not trick income, not scams. Honest, repeatable ways to turn your spare hours into cash. Start by inventorying your skills and time. Can you write, code, design, teach, drive, or sell? Convert spare hours into paid hours. Here are concrete, realistic examples with sample incomes and time investments. Freelance writing or copy editing. A beginner can net $30-$75 per article or $25-$50 per hour. Doing 10 hours a week could bring $1,000-$2,000 monthly. It scales with repeat clients. Freelance programming or web design, even part-time work can yield $40-$100 per hour. 10 to 20 hours a week can produce about $500-$4,000 monthly depending on skill. Tutoring. Charge $30-$60 an hour. 2 hours per weekday makes $200, $2,400 a month. Rideshare, delivery. Net earnings vary by market, but 8 to 12 hours a week can produce $500 to $1,000 monthly after expenses. Flipping items. Buy used furniture, refurbish, and resell. One weekend a week could return a few hundred to $1,000, depending on volume and margins. Microservices online. Design gig marketplaces, logo work, and voiceover gigs can be small but high volume. $200 to $800 monthly reasonably. Overtime at your job. If you can work an extra 10 hours per week at 25 hours, that's $1,000 pre-tax monthly. Often easiest because it uses the same skills you already have. Sell unused assets. That old phone, camera, extra furniture? Clean out your storage and list items online. One-time sales can produce $1,000, $3,000 quickly. During the 24-month plan, all windfalls go straight to your investment account. Now the key is combination. Suppose you implement housing and food savings that net $100-$200 a month. Add a rideshare side gig that generates $800 a month in freelance writing, bringing $1,000 a month. That sums to $3,000. Add selling unused items and windfalls averaging $200 a month, and you're at $3,200. Work a bit more or tighten spending a bit more, and you cross $4,200. These numbers add up. The trade-off is fewer leisure hours for 24 months. Decide if you want short discomfort or long regret. Time commitment examples are realistic. 2 to 12 extra hours a week. That's 1 to 2 evenings and parts of weekends. Not forever. 2 years. Make it a project, not a life sentence. Objections you'll hear. I don't have marketable skills. Learn a skill fast. Basic coding classes, copywriting courses, or even specialized tutoring certifications can be picked up in months. Online marketplaces let you start small and build. If learning takes too long, start with gig economy work and use that cash to buy time or education to move up. Mini hook. You don't need to become an entrepreneur. You need to convert hours into cash and direct that cash into investments with discipline. Pillar 3. Invest every dollar immediately and aggressively with caution. Saving and earning are worthless if the money sits idle. Cash loses purchasing power to inflation. Your job is to put saved dollars to work quickly. That doesn't mean reckless speculation. It means a simple, low-friction investment plan that gets money into the market where it can start compounding. Open 1 or 2 accounts, a taxable brokerage, and, where available and appropriate, a tax-advantaged account like an IRA or 401k. Use low-cost index funds or ETFs as your primary vehicles. A broad market ETF that tracks the S&P 500 is a simple proxy for the U.S. stock market. A total market ETF or a balanced fund can be alternatives. Explanation in one line. An index ETF is a fund that owns a slice of hundreds or thousands of companies, spreading your risk. Do this fast. When you save $400 in a month, transfer that money into your brokerage by the first business day of the next month. Don't let it rot in checking. Windfalls, bonuses, tax refunds, sale proceeds go 100% to your investment account during this 24-month drive. A necessary caution, a 2-year time window increases short-term market risk. Stocks can fall 20-30% in a single year. That can happen in 2. I don't promise returns. The point is habit and starting a disciplined investment practice. If you need absolute principal protection for money, you will spend within weeks. Consider a high-yield savings account or short-term conservative options. But recognize those lower returns make the $100,000 target harder. For most people aiming for $100K saved and invested, the trade-off is acceptable because the aim is both capital and the habit of investing. Long-term compounding is the real advantage. In 2 years, you're principally building both capital and the muscle. 2 ways to invest: lump sum or regular deposits. Both work. If you accumulate $4,200 at month's end, depositing it immediately is usually better than leaving it in cash. Dollar cost averaging mitigates timing risk only slightly and can reduce regret, but delaying large amounts because of market timing usually costs you opportunity. Keep fees tiny. Choose low-cost ETFs and avoid active managers with high expense ratios. Fees compound against you over time. Avoid excessive trading. No day trading. No chasing hot picks or penny stocks. This is not a get-rich-fast scheme. This is disciplined capital accumulation. Rebalance at preset intervals if you use multiple funds. Keep taxes in mind, but don't let tax complexity stop you from investing. If tax rules are important to your situation, consult a tax professional. Briefly and unobtrusively, to ensure you use available tax advantage vehicles legally and smartly. Synthesis. Combine the 3 pillars and watch the math work. Let's stitch this together with concrete scenarios so you see the numbers align. Scenario A. The saver with modest side hustle. You cut expenses aggressively and free $12,500 a month. You add a side gig netting $1,100 a month. Total saved and invested monthly, $4,200. 24 months, x $4,200. $100, $800. Scenario B, the higher earner. You make $6,000 a month and focus on saving $4,200 by default through automated transfers and lifestyle discipline. No side gig required for target, but you still invest windfalls 100% and keep your discipline. Scenario C, the gradual builder. You save $2,000 a month from cuts, add $1,200 from part-time work, and work to increase side income to $2,000 within 6 months. Skill upgrade. Early months may be under $4,200, but with clear ramps, you average close to target by the 24-month mark. If you miss the strict $4,200 every single month, extend the timeline by a month or two, but only as a contingency, not an excuse. Remember, hitting 100K in 24 months is not a promise. It is a mathematically plausible outcome that requires consistent behavior. The real win is the systems you build. If you can pull off 2 years of disciplined savings and investment, you've changed your financial identity. You will have habits that continue to compound for decades. Practical tools and daily habits. Here are small but high-impact practices to keep you honest and moving forward. Use them daily. Every payday, route the target savings amount automatically into a separate account. If you earn variable income, estimate conservatively and adjust quarterly. Track expenses weekly. A single line on your phone that reminds you to categorize purchases takes 5 minutes. That visibility kills drift. Keep a scoreboard, a spreadsheet with a monthly line for target savings, actual savings, invested amount, and cumulative total creates accountability. You'll find momentum in watching the cumulative total grow. Designate a single brokerage and a single investment plan. Complexity kills habit. 2 funds, a total market ETF, and a bond or cash allocation for safety are enough. Create a 24-month calendar. Mark milestones every 3 months. Celebrate small wins with zero-cost rewards. A night off, a good meal at home, a book. Reward systems help sustain sacrifice. A brief personal note. I lived in a tiny apartment with hand-me-down furniture. I worked nights and took freelance gigs on weekends. I sold things I didn't need. 2 years of focus built not only capital, but a muscle. I stopped rationalizing spending and learned to enjoy simpler living because it meant freedom later. The discomfort was temporary. The benefit has lasted. Addressing common objections. I don't have time. Then take the cheapest time route. Sell unused items and apply the proceeds. If you can free 1 weekend a month, use it for flipping or freelancing. Time is always a choice. We're asking for less leisure for 2 years, not forever. I'm already tight on cash. Start with tracking. There's always leakage. Even low-income earners can free up a few $100s by eliminating recurring charges and small habits. Combine that with modest side gigs and the math becomes possible. What if the market crashes? It could. That's why we caution you. Short-term volatility exists. If you panic and sell at a low, you lose. Discipline matters more than timing. Commit to your plan unless you need the money immediately for survival. If you do need the funds within weeks, use conservative vehicles instead, and accept a longer timeline to 100K. What if my employer cuts pay? Then adapt. Reduce spending more, increase side income, or extend the timeline slightly. The point is resilient systems, not rigidity. The 24-month challenge, a binary decision. You now have 2 choices. Option 1, keep doing what you've been doing. Watch money pass through your hands year after year with little to show for it. Option 2, choose a project, a 2-year sprint. Make 3 decisions. Obsess over savings. Increase income aggressively and invest every dollar immediately. For 24 months, you sacrifice some comfort for lifelong financial advantage. I don't do pep talks. This is a challenge. You will feel friction. You will want to quit. When you do, remember the math. $4,200 a month is the target. If you miss one month, make up for it the next. If you stay consistent, the result is inevitable. Final practical checklist. What to do tonight. 1. Do the quick calc. Multiply your monthly net income by 120. Be honest. 2. Open or identify a brokerage account and a separate savings account for emergency buffer and immediate transfers. 3. Automate a transfer that moves at least part of your target into that savings investment account on payday. 4. Track every expense for 1 month. No exceptions. 5. List 3 things you can cancel or change this week. Roommate or move, cancel a subscription, stop dining out. 6. Pick 1 income action to start in the next 7 days. Sign up for a gig platform, list 5 items to sell, apply to 3 freelance jobs. 7. Commit windfalls 100% to investments during these 24 months. 8. Download the 24-month spreadsheet and checklist in the description to track day 1 to day 730. If this message hits you, make a decision now. Download the checklist from the description and commit to day 1. Type your start date in the comments and hold yourself accountable. That's the simplest, most underrated step toward changing your life. A final note on risk: investing over a 2-year window carries elevated short-term volatility. I am not promising returns. This plan is about disciplined capital accumulation and building habits. If you need specific tax or legal guidance, consult a professional. Don't gamble with money you can't afford to lose. So here's the last bit of bluntness. Do you want to be serious or do you want to be comfortable? Pick your 2 years. Live like you're broke for 24 months, and you'll own your future in a way most people never will. $4,200 a month is the math. The rest is resolve. Download the 24-month plan, start today, and post your day 1 date in the comments. Let's see who's serious.